Chase a rebound score. Ryan Nugent gets us put Edmonton right back in the game.
question. If you have a follow-up, ask it following your first. Ryan Rashog, TSN.
Hey, Leon. Obviously, you guys have had a lot of success against this group this year, but at the same time, they've beaten some really good teams too. So how do you kind of just sort of shelf the success you've had against them and make sure you bring kind of the level of urgency tonight that's needed?
Yeah, I think we're obviously, like you said, had some success against them, and we're looking to continue that tonight or tomorrow. So they're a dangerous group, very energetic, obviously. They got some skill on their team too, so we gotta be ready to go and have that same mindset that we've had against this group for a while. So yeah, we're obviously looking to have the same results.
One of the things they do tend to bring out in teams is kind of that compete level. You're going to be in for a game where they're going to be finishing checks and playing hard, and you guys seem to have really elevated in that way against them. Do you like what your team has brought to these games in that regard?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in the past, maybe our team would take a team like that a little lightly or not with the same intensity or with the mindset, but we haven't done that at all this year. We've actually been really, really good. So we're obviously, looking to continue that and have that same mindset and obviously finish them out.
Thanks.
Bob Stauffer, 630 Chad.
Morning, Leon. You play the occasional early game on Saturdays and Sundays. This is a midweek game. Is it a little bit different getting prepared for? And is there any concern about being fired and ready to go right from the get-go? Because I would think it's a little bit of a different experience for you guys.
Yeah, it's different, but I mean, it's an NHL game and it's a regular season game, so I don't think anyone has to worry about us getting up for this game. This is a big game for us. It's coming down to the last little bit here in the regular season, and we want to secure a playoff spot and obviously have our game where we want it to be going into the playoffs. So this, like I said, is a big little 2-game set here for us, and we're looking to play a solid road game and come away with 4 points.
Has Dave Tippett and the coaching staff instilled something I mean, you guys have been pretty consistent regardless of the opponent. Like some of the other teams that are at the top of the charts in the North have struggled a bit against Ottawa. Is there something that Dave has brought and the coaching staff has brought that's brought out to consistency in your game regardless of who you play?
Yeah, I mean, they prepare as well, of course. They give us exactly what we need structurally and mentally. But I think our team, our leadership group, we know how to handle these situations now, and we're growing, we're getting older. So, this is on us as much as it is on the coaches to make sure that our group is ready.
Thank you.
Jim Matheson, Post Media.
Leon, Tim Stützle last scored a goal against the Oilers March 8th. They've got 2 in the last 19. What do you say about a player like that who's in his first year, and as you were in your first year, and I guess having to describe how difficult it is for a teenager to play in the NHL?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's the best league in the world. It's a tough league. No one's just going to let you come in and score and guys are so good at defending nowadays that it's hard, especially as a young kid when you don't have experience and all that kind of stuff. So those things are normal. They happen to pretty much any young guy. So I've been through it. Lots of guys been through it. I'm sure he'll be fine.
I just want to ask you about your father. Your father is now coaching in Bratislava, I understand. Is he just moving around now? Is this, from one country to another? How's he enjoying that?
Yeah, he likes it. Keeps him busy. I think he had a really good time there. He liked coaching that team, and if I'm not mistaken, he's going back there next year. So he signed for another year. So he likes it and keeps him busy.
Good, thank you.
Mark Spector, Sportsnet.
So just want to talk to you, Leon, about the dynamic of beating a team 7 times in a row and then playing them again. In the normal times, it would take 4 years to play the Ottawa Senators 8 times. This year, you're going to play them for the 8th time tonight. You beat them every time. Does it get increasingly difficult? What's it like to look at a team that you've been beating all year? What are they thinking?
Well, I'm sure they're gonna, they really want to beat us here. I think we've been pretty successful against them this year. Like you said, we've beaten them 7 times. So our goal is to not lose to them all year. Sweep the season against them. Their goal is obviously to beat us and not lose every game against us. So I think it'll be a good game. We're looking to play tight road game, like I said, and it'd be nice to get the win tonight.
Thank you.
Any other questions, media? Thank you. This concludes Leon Draisaitl's media availability. Raise hand function. Jim Matheson, Post Media.
Kyle, the Ottawa rink, does that seem like a home rink to you since you spent 6 years there?
Yeah, it does. It's comfortable. It's a spot I played a bunch of games, and just like you said, it feels like home.
And the question for you is, I guess you're still trying to get some traction here, so you're playing every night. What do you have to do to accomplish that?
Just play better. I know I need to play better, and trying to work in that direction. Just be more consistent and contributing and creating and just be a rounded, solid player.
Thank you.
Mark Spector, Sportsnet.
So, Kyle, in normal times, it would take you 4 years to play the Ottawa Senators 8 times. You're going to play them the 8th time tonight, and the Oilers have beaten them every single game this year. What's the dynamic of an opponent that you've beaten so many times in a row? What happens on the other side of this thing?
Yeah, they want to beat us, so it's going to be a battle tonight, and the way the division's set up, you play so many games against teams that you wouldn't normally, and it creates rivalries, and I'm just excited for tonight. It's going to be fun.
Is it a styles thing? Like, is it, for instance, Montreal seems to give you guys some trouble. You give Ottawa trouble. Is it can it be a styles thing where your style doesn't work well for them, or what do you think?
Yeah, teams definitely match up better and worse against certain teams, and it's just, I don't know, it's something that you can never take for granted, because the other team's changing things and constantly adapting to try and improve and beat you. So it's a tough league, and we just got to keep working at it.
Bob Stauffer, 630 Ched.
Morning, Kyle. When you were in Ottawa, you're on the power play on the offside, ripping pucks and sort of in an offensive role. You talked about changing things and adapting. Has this been a bit of a challenge at times for you? Have you maybe had to reinvent yourself a little bit as a player, especially given that who Edmonton has as their top 2 centers with, 2 Hart Trophy winners there?
Yeah, it's a little bit different, but it's kind of got to be cautious of not going too far the opposite way, and I still gotta create and contribute offensively, and I think that's one thing that I kind of got away from early, and I need to get back to. So I need to be more creative and contributing offensively to help support those guys, and I've been feeling better lately, and looking forward to getting back to that tonight.
Thank you.
Jack Michael, 6:30 Chad.
Kyle, I know players don't like to look back, but since you're in Ottawa, I have to ask, I mean, it was still only 3.5 years ago you come within a goalpost of the Stanley Cup final. Is there any possible way you and some of your teammates could have envisioned that you'd be scattered, across the league, now as compared to, again, having a pretty young core that came within an eyelash going to the final?
It's crazy when you think about it. That's for sure. And I mean, like you said, it's tough to look back and predict anything or see anything. But I think it's it's surprising. Obviously, there's a lot of turnover in this league, and it's tough to keep things together. And I don't know if there's anybody left on that team from 3.5 years ago.
Thank you. If there are no more questions, this concludes Kyle Turris' media availability. Please stay tuned for Dave Tippett. If you have a question, please use the raise hand function. Jim Matheson, Post Media.
Dave, when you play a team 7 times, you beat them 7 times. I presume on the other side, they're saying we can't lose every game to the Edmonton Oilers. So they've got a burr up their rear end to make sure that doesn't happen. Is that how your team is seeing it too? You obviously want to win all 9 games against Ottawa.
Well, you know what you do? You compartmentalize it into one game, and you recognize what they're thinking. They certainly want to get some revenge against us, but for us, it's we're concerned about this game only. And there's things you can take out of the games where you've had success, but there's also things that you have to recognize. Ottawa's played well lately. I mean, there's things like that come into play. So it's you talk about this game only and how are we going to win this game only, and you don't worry about the ones in the past, but I'm sure they're using the past as motivation. So you have to recognize that.
And what do you want to see from Kyle Turris? He got a couple of games last look. He looked good in, early, but then he's been back sitting again. So what is it? He says it's got to create more, and he's got to be more consistent. Is that how you see it?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, he he's a good offensive player. You watch him in practice. He has good skill, shoots the puck really well. So he's got to bring that end of it. But then there's a competitive end of it too that he knows he can be more consistent at and try to deliver consistent shifts of some battle and checking and that side of it also. So he's looking for that happy balance. He's been better lately, and hopefully he can continue to take a step forward tonight.
Reed Wilkins, 6:30 Chad.
Thanks, Sean. Hi, Dave. The trade deadline is Monday. As a coach, do you ever have to manage any nerves or anxiety in a group that you might sense as the deadline approaches, or do you sense any of that in the team this year just because of all the speculation and potential?
Very little anxiety with our group. We've had a similar group all year. It's not like a regular year where we're carrying 29 players on our roster as right now. So it's not like a regular year where you think you're going to add a bunch of people or anything. It's our group. There's no anxiety. There hasn't been a lot of talk about it. So we're worried about the game tonight and playing well and getting our game, continue to improve our game, and hopefully we can get a playoff spot and go from there. So there's not a lot of anxiety with the trade deadline looming with our team.
Okay. And back-to-back games, can you give us a hint as to who might be the goalies the next 2 days?
We've got 2 of them, and they'll each play 1.
Who plays today?
Koskinen today.
Thank you.
Steve Wino, Associated Press.
Hey, Dave, I got another anxiety question for you. You look at the Canucks situation. Are you concerned at all as a team about that? And have you gotten a chance as a 59-year-old guy to get vaccinated at all?
No, I haven't had a chance to get vaccinated yet. And your team is always concerned about the situations, and we've been concerned since the start of the year. And that concern is really, we've made sure that we're following all the protocols. The new memo came out the other day. We had our team doctor make sure he went through everything with our players again, which we've done numerous times this year, just to make sure everybody is up to date on protocols and following the right things. So you can, you can make sure you stay vigilant on it, and you never know what happens. But ultimately, if we want to try to keep the virus out if we can, if all possible, and so you recognize when other teams are going through it, you want to try to do whatever you can to stay away from it. But it's concern maybe is the wrong word, but it's you're very cognizant of what's going on, and you make sure you're doing your part to try to keep it out.
Thank you.
Jason Gregor, TSN 1260.
Dave, this year, maybe more than others, we've seen it in every division. Some teams just, have the other team's number for whatever reason. Some, lower in the standings have beaten top teams and vice versa. When you look at Ottawa, why has your team had so much success? Is it, obviously your top guys have gotten going. Is it just that simple that your top guys Ottawa doesn't have an answer for so far?
You look back at the games, there were some games where, I don't think their goaltending was as good as they'd like. There's a couple games we got some lead there, but there's been some close games that our goaltenders played very well. Like Koskinen played really well in here. I think they had over 40 shots in here last time we were here, and Koski played really well for us. So it's I don't know if there's anything to it. We've found ways to win games, and that's the way we're looking at this one tonight. We're not saying, okay, we've played well against these guys and won. We got to figure out how we're going to win again tonight. So that's what we're looking at.
So Turris and Koskinen are in any other lineup changes?
No.
Thanks.
Jim Matheson.
When you play a team like Ottawa, which has so many young players, I guess the young players on Ottawa, play with lots of energy. They don't have a lot of older players on their team. Does it make a difference when you play a team with so many young players trying to find their way in the NHL?
I don't know if it's, I don't look at it as young players or old players. You look at how they play, and they're a team with strong work ethic. They come at you hard. They want to pressure you. So, I'm sure they expect that, whether it's an older player or a younger player. So it's more the team identity you look at rather than young and old. And, so you prepare accordingly that way. You prepare that they're gonna work. So you better be ready to work.
I have a question about Brady Tkachuk. Does he play anything like his brother Matthew? It seems to be he's a little different than Matthew, who's always trying to be a disturber in the game, and Brady plays a little different.
Well, they're both good power forwards. That's what they do. They go to the net hard. They compete hard. They both remind me of their dad. Their dad competed hard. He was a hard guy to beat, and that's both of them are out of the same vein.
Brian Ershog, TSN.
Dave, if there's one thing that you have to be ready for with the Sens, it's like you said, an energetic bunch that'll maybe push you a bit physically. You guys have had lots of success against them. Do you like what games against Ottawa have brought out in your group, just from a compete and being ready for that kind of game standpoint?
Well, you hope your team's ready no matter what kind of game you're thinking of, but it does, from a coaching standpoint, it's pretty plain and simple. They're going to work hard. If we don't work, they're going to get an advantage. So that's a pretty plain when you lay on your table. The first thing you talk about is we better bring the work ethic, because that they're going to, and that's an identity they've established. And when you play against Ottawa, ideally you want to work hard every night, but there's certain traits that teams have that you got to make sure you bring your bring to the table when you play against them. And, Ottawa is a team that's got a very hard-working group, so you got to be ready to work.
Thank you. If there are no more questions, this concludes Dave Tippett's media availability.